This is Dante Williams, and you're watching
DONTAE'S
Boxing Nation.
This is Showtime Sean Portman, Filipino Flash, Jesse Burns.
This is Al Bernstein. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Hi, I'm Sugar Ray.
Chick Shape.
Sergio the last name one.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Boom, 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 boom.
Yo, this is Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder.
My name is Gennady Golovkin.
And you're watching
Dante's Boxing Nation.
So now Danny Jacobs, he's saying, according to reports, that he just wants a 60-40 split in favor of Gennady Golovkin. So what do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous, man. People got to earn that. If it was Floyd talking, then you can understand it. If it was Canelo talking, you can understand it. But what the hell has Danny done? I mean, the rules are set in place for those exact situations when the challenger is not that renowned, let's just say, and it's the way they have it set up, the splits, is so that guy gets rewarded with some, not great change, but some good change.
I did a poll, and all the fans, they voted, and 80% of them said that Golovkin should take the 60% split. Does that surprise you that the fans will say that?
What surprises me is you're polling people that have nothing to do with this game. You're polling people that have nothing to do with earning a living in boxing. You're polling people that have not done any kind of sacrifice to get to a certain point. You're polling people they're sitting behind the typewriter that have no clue what it takes to get to this point. So no, I'm not surprised. But you know what? That's great that those people said that. But at the end of the day, those people are not going to climb the ropes. Golovkin is going to climb the ropes.
So, so you believe it's worth walking away from this fight if Danny, he says, I'm firm on 60-40, it's 60-40 or no fight. You guys are perfectly okay to walk away.
I believe that whatever Tom and the Herman brothers decide that's best for us, my personal opinion has nothing to do with what happens in the outcome of this.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So that was just a little small clip of the full interview that I did with Gennady Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description box if you guys want to hear the entire interview, because it was a pretty extensive interview. But if you guys heard the last thing that Abel Sanchez said, when I asked him about the fans that basically agreed that 60-40 is a good split, you heard what Abel Sanchez said. He said, well, you're polling people who have nothing to do with the business of the boxing game. He said, you're polling people that have nothing to do with earning a living in boxing. Now, it's pretty ironic he would say something like that, because as more news is being reported, we find out that there are professional boxers who do make a living boxing, who aren't behind typewriters, and they completely agree with the poll that was conducted. Juan Marquez is one of those fighters, and I'm sure if I went out and I conducted a poll with nothing but professional boxers and trainers, I can assure you that there would be tons of professional athletes and trainers that would say 60-40 split, that sounds like a good split. Keep in mind, no one is trying to say Golovkin should take a 50-50 split or Golovkin should take less than a 50-50 split. The majority of people are in agreement. The majority of fans are in agreement that Gennady Golovkin, he should get the bigger slice of the pie. Now, let me go ahead and quote what Juan Marquez had to say about the situation. And before I do, let me make it very clear that it was only about a week ago that Juan Marquez, he was jumping on Canelo because he felt that Canelo was basically trying to lowball Gennady Golovkin by offering him this low flat rate or a flat fee that they were going to pay him for a possible fight between Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. He's just calling it like he sees it, okay? He felt that Canelo Alvarez was basically trying to, outprice himself. And now this is what he said about Gennady Golovkin's situation when it comes to negotiating with Danny Jacobs. Let me go ahead and quote exactly what Marquez had to say. Danny Jacobs is also a tough fighter. And now Gennady Golovkin only want to provide 25% for Jacobs. That's not right. Golovkin is fighting to get a large purse in the fight with Canelo. And now he is punishing Jacobs. It sounds ridiculous that he only wants to offer 25% to Jacobs because he's a fighter who is also training and preparing to get a good purse. I'm not saying pay him what he wants, but it sounds ridiculous to only offer 25% to Danny Jacobs, end quote. Now, you notice he also said, I'm not saying pay him what he wants, but give him more than 25%. Now, if you listen to the interview that I did with Abel Sanchez, you'll notice that he's mainly focused on that 75-25% split. He's saying, this is the way it's structured, this is the way it's supposed to be. What he was referring to is bypassing negotiations between the two parties and going straight to the purse bid, where Golovkin is entitled to get a 75% split because he's considered the real or the super WBA champion, when Danny Jacobs is only the regular WBA champion. So, I thought it was pretty interesting that once again, Juan Marquez, he came out and he said it was ridiculous. He said he believes that Danny Jacobs needs more money or is worth more money. I mean, on top of all of this, once again, it could be argued that Danny Jacobs' knockout win over Peter Quillen was just as big, some people would say even bigger, than all of Gennady Golovkin's wins. But we can definitely say that win is equivalent to all of Gennady Golovkin's wins. No doubt about that. I was really under the impression that Gennady Golovkin, he really wanted this fight, which I believe he does want the fight. But I'm just saying, at first I was under the impression that it was Danny Jacobs that was reluctant to take the fight, and it was Gennady Golovkin that was willing to do anything to make the fight. We're finding out that is not the case. That's not the case at all. Because once again, 60-40 split, Gennady Golovkin does not have a whole lot to lose. Okay? Especially if he believes he's going to go in there and knock out Danny Jacobs. At the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day, Gennady Golovkin is not a superstar. He's not a cash cow. Neither is Danny Jacobs. But clearly, Gennady Golovkin is a bigger star than Danny Jacobs. Golovkin just isn't a cash cow. So because of that, it seems to me like Gennady Golovkin, he would be more willing to compromise than a fighter that was on that level of cash cow status, right? It'll be very unfortunate if this fight doesn't happen. This was a bigger step up for Gennady Golovkin in his career. Of course, it's a humongous step up for Danny Jacobs. But since Gennady Golovkin is the fan favorite, and he's the one that ESPN is already calling one of the greatest fighters in the last 25 years, this would have been a great test for Gennady Golovkin. So, they're still negotiating. Hopefully the fight happens. I don't know. The way Gennady Golovkin's trainer is talking, it sounds like, it's not going to happen. But we'll see. That's pretty much all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.